Hi everyone. I hope you're having a very good day today. I'm having actually a really nice day today. I've had the last 3 days have been quite incredible for me and leading up to a really beautiful, wonderful day yesterday. And we finished one of our classes with a really, really beautiful energy healing circle. And my energies have been really high and I've been feeling really wonderful. So I wanted to make a video while I'm like in this really good, high vibing space. In hopes that, you know, I don't, none of my videos are scripted and I just kind of like fly off the seat of my pants in terms of like the things I want to talk about and what I'm guided to talk about. But ultimately, my goal is to help other people who are on their journey and to validate them, to validate their feelings that they're going through, to give information, and just hopefully to inspire others to make those choices that their true essence really wants to do for themselves and to heal. So, welcome. If this is the first video you're watching, welcome to my YouTube channel. And I just wanted to say I hope you're having like a really good day. Make sure that you're grounded and all that stuff. So the topic that I really wanted to talk about today is why we stay in situations longer than we need to, or why we stay in situations even though we are unhappy, unfulfilled, and unsatisfied. So examples of that would be in work situations, friendships, relationships. You could use whatever example you want to use in this situation. So, okay. When think of it, everyone's always like, because you get comfortable, but I want to like break that down a little bit. What does it mean when we say we get comfortable somewhere? We stay in a relationship because we're comfortable. When we say that, we don't mean that I'm wearing my sweatpants and a sweater today and I'm gonna go like plop myself on the couch later and watch some Netflix and this is like super cozy and comfortable for me. That is not what we mean when we say that we stay in relationships or work situations, friendships, examples like that, because we are comfortable. It's not to say that they're like a pair of sweatpants. I mean, if you want to put it, they're familiar. Yes, they're very familiar, and that makes it comfortable. But I want to break it down further, what that actually means. Okay. So, if you're in a situation that isn't really serving you and you're not feeling like really like seen or fulfilled, validated, or any of those things in that situation, part of the reason we stay in that situation is because of what I said, familiarity. But what that means is that we know what the end result is of something. So, when you have to do something new, for instance, if you're learning a relationship or a new job or something, you have all these sub-personalities come in, and your inner critic, your all the parts of you that feel like you're not good enough, or am I gonna be able to get this, anxiety, all these different things come in, like, oh my gosh, like, is this person gonna like me, am I gonna be good at my job, like all these like different things, am I gonna meet people's expectations. And if you follow Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen, don't forget to drink hibiscus tea, because that's one of his favorite things to drink. So, I mean, there's lots of really great health properties to it. But anyways, we're not talking about that right now. So, the end result of those things that are going to happen to you. So, what ends up happening is you've perfected everything to get from A to B in that relationship, in that workplace, and even in your friendships, whatever the dynamic that you have with these types of connections or situations, you have perfected, or you are very familiar with what the end result is, what the expectation is, what the amount of energy that you need to exert in that situation. You know all those things. They're all part of your memory now. And you have memorized all of that. You are a pro at all of that stuff. So it's comfortable because you don't have to put the extra effort in it, because you are a goddamn pro at all of that stuff. Plus, you know what's going to happen. There's no surprises. You already know that this is going to happen if you do this, and this is going to happen. You know that if you maintain the status quo, that if you're going to be the best at this, that you're always going to like achieve this, which is fine. But here's the problem with that. If you're not feeling fulfilled, if you're in a situation, whether it's your work or job, or your job, career, whatever, a relationship with friendship or and things like that, if you are in any of these types of exchanges, and that's what they ultimately are, is an exchange of energy in any of those things, that's what they are. If you are in any of those things and you aren't really living what your true desire, or like if you aren't following what your true essence wants or desires, whether in terms of like your true potential for your job or your career, not feeling seen in friendships, and not having someone who's more of a match to you in a relationship, and not feeling more intertwined with them. So if you're doing all those things in relationships and you're settling for your relationship or things, workplace, what you're doing is you're denying like the true essence, and that's where the not fulfilling part is coming in, and why you feel like sad. That's where the sadness comes from, because you're not living a path of what you're supposed to be doing, what you're meant to be doing, and like just following your own essence, its own needs and its own desires and wants and things like that. Your soul knows what it wants. Your soul knows what's for it. And when we don't listen to that, we do have this like pit of sadness inside of us, which we like to quiet with the multitude of distractions that we have in abundance in this wonderful capitalist society. But going back to the comfort thing. So let's just say my workplace, for instance. I'll use myself as an example here. I've stayed in my workplace for a very, very long time, and I wasn't always there. For a long time I was doing other things full time, and I was only there just part of the time, very minimal time that I was there, so it wasn't really a huge part of my life. But after a while, I ended up being there more than I really wanted to, and I just, because of my experience and because I'm a really good worker, I just became like one of the best workers there. And I, took pride in I can't say I took pride. It was just very easy to be the best at something, especially when it's something you're not like, it's something very like simple, and, so I was just really good at my job. And eventually I just, once the place becomes incredibly toxic like that, I was finding it incredibly difficult to want to leave. Now, I learned this equation, one of our teachers taught us, in terms of for manifestation, because when I graduated from, let me recap. When I graduated from high school, I did not go to school right away. I started working full-time immediately. And, I worked in a doctor's clinic for about just over a year, and then after that I got a job in a hospital where I worked for over 6 years as a clinical research assistant. While I was at the hospital working, I was working going to school part-time in college for computer programming, because that is what I thought I wanted to do. I wanted to do computer programming, but I didn't finish with that because I realized I wasn't interested in it. I really wanted to do something that I was in service. So when my job no longer served me, I ended up quitting my job and went back to school. I went to university full-time, and once I was done that, I was looking for full-time work, and I could not find work. I applied to over 200 places, I believe, and I did not get any call back. And so why I'm telling you this story is just the process of everything. So in retrospect, like when you think about manifesting, the equation is that your intent and your desire has to be greater than your inner obstacles and outer obstacles. So when your intention or intent plus your desires are greater than your inner obstacles and outer obstacles, you can manifest things. If your inner obstacles and outer obstacles are greater than your intent and desires, then you do not manifest things. So at that point in my life, I clearly had a lot of internal obstacles, more so than the external obstacles. Internal obstacles would be feelings of limited self-beliefs, not feeling worthy and not good enough, and things like that. Those are examples of internal obstacles, are basically all those voices telling you all those that you're not, that you do not deserve it, and all those types of things would be your inner obstacles. So anyways, so I basically went into a job because I was already so good at it, and it was there available for me, and it was not bad in terms of pay and stability. So what the point of my video is, I had to make a choice, and at one point there was something that presented itself to me, and I guess my unhappiness, my intent at that point, my intent and my desire was far greater than my inner and outer obstacles. So I made that choice, which was to remove myself from a full-time position at my job, and I went back to school, which is what I'm doing right now. And the reason that's an important thing that I want to talk about in terms of when you stay in places that you're comfortable is because that was a very, very scary decision for me. And even now I'm like struggling with that so much, because in my previous life as opposed to before awakening, or whatever you want to call it, all the decisions that I've made were always very sensible and stable decisions based on that comfort zone and practicality and things like that. And don't get me wrong, there are some things where you need to be practical and sensible for in order for your own survival, but when it comes to following your path and what you really want to do and what makes you happy, you need to throw that sensibility and sound decisions out the window. I'm not saying completely, you have to have some of it there, but it has to be, you can't just be guided by that. You have to be guided by your true essence. And your true essence isn't going to do something that's completely off the freaking rails and be what the, it's not going to set you up for failure. So yes. So I made that decision and I struggle with it. I decided to leap off the cliff, and it was time for me. But why I'm saying all this and why I want to share my experience is because if I did not do that, I would stay in a position, and then yes, I might have been the best there, but would I have been happy? And why do we And for the most part, saying I'm the best at something, that is something that I don't even like. What does that actually say about me as a person? Like, I hate this job. So it's like, if I'm the best worker there and I take pride in being the best worker there, like, what is that ultimately saying about me? When I am talking so poorly about a place, yet I am their best worker, what does it say about me, my potential, and how I feel about myself? So that's something that you have to take a look at for yourself. So I'm the best at something that doesn't take, like, a freaking, I don't even know the expression. It doesn't take, like, oh my gosh, what is the expression? It doesn't take someone like super smart to be capable of doing the things that I'm doing, and not to put, I don't want to like speak poorly of anyone in this position that I'm in, like in the same position as me. But my point is, it's not for me, and my potential is elsewhere, and it's always been elsewhere, and I've been keeping it like kept down at this place. And so I've stayed in a place that was comfortable and secure and stable, or so I was thinking. But the reality is that that's only because of my own inner wounds that you stay there. Because even though it's shitty and I hate it, and it's making me so unhappy and it's incredibly toxic, I'm really good at it, and I always know what's gonna happen. If I do this, I'll get this. I'll always get this. And even though the result is always shitty, at least I know what the result's gonna be. So that's what I mean by comfort zone. We know what the end result is always gonna be. We know how to react to it. We're primed for it. We've memorized it. We are totally prepared 100% for everything that's gonna happen. And yeah, we can bitch and moan about it, but we're totally like we're totally programmed to get in there and like react accordingly, because we know how to react. We've memorized every single scenario subconsciously, so it's not a surprise. We don't have to worry about our stuff. We've totally, like, we're prepared, and that's what's comfortable. Doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's happy, it doesn't mean it's fulfilling, it doesn't mean it's right. So that's what a comfort zone is. So when you're in a comfort zone, you are not really living what your true essence wants. You're not living in your path. You are not realizing your full potential. So those are all the unknown parts of you, and it's scary to get yourself from here to there because you don't know. And because you don't know, it's the reason why it's scary is those parts of you, the unhealed parts of you, those inner like critics and parts that fear abandonment and the feelings of unworthiness and limited self-beliefs that you have. Those are all the things that come into play when you do not make those decisions for yourself. Because at the end of the day, I might feel unworthy, so I can stay here because at least here I know that I'm doing something and I'm the best at it. So I feel worthy in this shitty situation, which is like ludicrous if you think about it, because it's like, how does that ultimately make you feel worthy? It doesn't. That's why you feel sad, because your true essence does not feel good about it, because you are putting up with some subpart shit because of your subpersonalities, your wounded parts of you that are keeping you somewhere. And it's not they're not doing it on purpose. They're doing it to protect yourself, because when you experience those wounds growing up, they basically, so if this is your true essence, they basically just piled around your true essence, protecting it, because it's like, oh my god, we got hurt, let's not let anything ever freaking happen again so that you don't get hurt again. But if you remove those parts of you, you're not so afraid going into the unknown, because you can stand stronger and taller and more confidently go into the unknown because you feel worthy, you feel deserving, you want to be fulfilled, and all those things. So it is not as fearful when you go into the unknown. It doesn't matter if you don't know what the results is going to be from doing A. What are you going to get when you do B? It doesn't matter because you have all those other things present. You have all those great self-beliefs happening. You feel good about yourself, and though you might, the inner critic and other parts of you still, might come and visit sometimes and make you second guess your decisions or struggle with some of the stuff you've done, your true essence and your soul are still going to be the ones who have the reins and are guiding you and taking control of all the situations. And that is the place where you want to be at. That's the place that is going to take you forward. You know what I mean? So, comfort zones. Recapping. Comfort zones, we stay in them because of our own wounds. That's why we stay in comfort zones, because we're afraid. We're afraid of being unworthy of something better. And so we stay somewhere because we already know what's going to happen. We know this whole situation. We've memorized it. And, like I said, it doesn't say a lot for us, because if we're in some place that we don't even like and don't even feel happy, it doesn't really say a lot for us if we're saying we're like amazing or the best at this when we don't like this. So already there, we can just analyze ourselves just on that alone. And out of the comfort zone, how do we get there? We do inner work and healing and remove limited self-beliefs, know that you're worthy, and you need to remove those things so that you have the space for yourself, for your soul essence to be the one at the forefront making those decisions. And you can do the things that you want to do, and they will feel much different. You will feel fulfilled. You will feel happy and complete and whole. Most importantly, you will feel whole. So yes, that's my video about why we stay in situations that we don't like, or that we're sad in or feel unfulfilled longer than we need to, or even forever. And I hope this helped people. If you're in a situation like this, I want you to know that there's always ways to get out of that, and the key to that is to start doing our own inner healing. Because if you are not happy within and you don't feel good enough, you are never gonna be able to break those barriers that are gonna allow your true essence to take the lead into leading you towards the things that are for you. And you'll just remain stuck in those situations, which is where a lot of people are now. A lot of people feel stuck. And then at the other spectrum of that are people who don't stay in one thing. There are people that bounce from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing, which is the other opposite. They don't even know what they want, so they can't even commit to one thing. They just bounce from job to job to job, or relationship, or they freaking have revolving doors for friends and relationships and jobs. So that's the other end of that, which are both unhealed parts of us. So we need something that is more grounded and stable, and we can do that by starting to heal ourselves and allowing our true self, our soul essence, to come forward and to give it space. Anyways, I really hope you found this video informative and helpful. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, and if you have anything you want me to talk about specifically, feel free to comment and let me know. And have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Bye.